The morning sun of Orion Prime painted the sky with streaks of violet and gold. Eli adjusted his small backpack as he walked through the grand gates of the Orion Interstellar Academy, the most prestigious school in the galaxy. He had dreamed of this moment for years, though in secret, always hoping to prove that humans were more than what the galaxy believed. But as the massive doors swung open and the buzz of alien chatter washed over him, he felt the familiar tug of doubt. Aliens of all shapes and sizes moved gracefully along the corridors. Some floated above the ground on anti-gravity boots, others shifted through the air with glimmering wings. Eli's human legs felt clumsy beneath him. A murmur of laughter floated across the hall as he passed a group of taller students. They had pointed at him, whispering in tones he could barely understand. "Human," one said, voice dripping with mockery. "Still struggling to find your way, little one." Eli ignored them and pressed forward. This was his first day, and he would not let the galaxy's prejudice define him. At least he tried not to. The classroom was enormous, circular, and suspended in zero gravity. Holographic diagrams of star systems rotated slowly above the students' desks. Eli floated to his assigned seat, trying to steady his trembling hands. This was his chance, his opportunity to prove humans could compete with the galaxy's smartest beings. "Class, settle in," called a voice that seemed to vibrate in every corner at once. The instructor, a tall, crystalline being with shifting colors across her body, introduced herself as Professor Zelaris. She spoke with authority, her words precise and clear. "Today, we begin with advanced quantum mechanics applied to interstellar navigation. Pair up for the exercise. Remember, creativity and precision are equally important." Eli scanned the room, looking for someone to partner with, but most of the alien students exchanged glances and murmured among themselves. It seemed no one wanted to pair with a human. Eli's heart sank, but he refused to show it. A light laugh floated through the room. It was sharp, melodic, and unmistakably directed at him. Eli looked up and saw a figure hovering just a few meters away. She had smooth, silver skin that shimmered like moonlight and eyes that reflected every color of the nebula. Her long hair floated in zero gravity as if it were alive. Lyra, the alien girl from Zyphora, was watching him, her lips curved in amusement. "You're a human," she said, voice soft but tinged with mockery. "This is going to be interesting." She laughed again, a light musical sound that drew the attention of nearby students. Eli felt the burn of embarrassment. He wanted to disappear. I'll manage," Eli said quietly, trying to steady his voice. Professor Zalaris noticed the tension. "Pairings now," she instructed. Students floated toward each other, forming teams. Eli's heart raced. Lyra drifted toward him, her expression still playful. "I suppose I'll help you," she said, her tone carrying just enough condescension to sting. Eli nodded, swallowing his pride. They moved to a shared workstation where holographic stars and planets rotated above them. Eli struggled to follow the alien notations, his human brain trying to interpret symbols he had never seen before. Lyra watched, her eyes narrowing as if she were evaluating whether he was worth her time. "Humans think too linearly," she said, shaking her head slightly. "You see one path, one solution. In space, there are always many." Eli took a deep breath. He had trained for this in his own way. Humans might be slower with alien logic, but they had something aliens often lacked: intuition. He studied the rotating holograms, his mind linking patterns that even Lyra had overlooked. "You might want to reconsider that approach," Lyra said, her voice curious now, not mocking. Eli tilted his head and adjusted the variables, following a sequence he had never learned in class but had felt instinctively. Minutes passed. The other students watched, some with barely concealed amusement, as Eli manipulated the holograms. Slowly, a pattern emerged. The solution to the problem began to take shape in a way that no alien student had anticipated. Lyra's eyes widened slightly. "Wait, that might actually work." Eli's pulse quickened. He dared a small smile. "I think it will," he said. They completed the exercise, submitting their solution to Professor Zelaris. The room fell silent as the holographic interface processed their work. Then the screen lit up with a glowing green checkmark. The problem had been solved perfectly. A murmur swept through the classroom. "Impossible," one of the alien students muttered. "Humans, that's—" They trailed off, unsure how to express disbelief. Lyra's lips twitched in surprise, and then she laughed again, but this time it was softer, almost incredulous. Eli could not tell if she was still mocking him or truly amazed. "You actually did it," she said finally. "I didn't think a human could solve that." "I just looked at it differently," Eli replied, his confidence growing. He realized that being human in this galaxy meant seeing paths others overlooked. Where aliens relied on strict rules and centuries of calculated logic, humans had creativity and adaptability. After class, Eli floated through the corridors, Lyra beside him. The alien students' whispers followed him like shadows. He knew he had shaken their assumptions, but he also knew it had painted a target on his back. Lyra, for her part, seemed less like an enemy and more like a puzzle, curious, challenging, and unpredictable. "You know," she said, her silver hair floating around her face, "you humans might be more interesting than I thought." Eli raised an eyebrow. "Interesting?" he asked cautiously. Lyra smiled, a mix of amusement and admiration. "Yes, interesting. Don't get used to me being nice, though. I still expect you to fail spectacularly sometimes." Eli laughed, the tension in his chest easing slightly. For the first time, he felt a spark of belonging, not because the galaxy had accepted him, but because he had proven to himself that he could hold his own. Later that day, in the dining hall, news of Eli's achievement spread. Aliens from other classes stopped by to glance at him, some in disbelief, others with curiosity. A few muttered words of encouragement, though carefully disguised. Eli realized that his small success had made ripples across the academy. Lyra, meanwhile, maintained a careful distance. She observed him as he navigated the crowded hall, noting his reactions, his strategy, and his determination. Something about humans fascinated her. They were unpredictable, flexible, and most importantly, capable of thinking outside the galaxy's rigid rules. Eli returned to his dorm that evening, exhausted but exhilarated. He thought about the day's events, the laughter that had first stung, and the solution that had stunned everyone. In the quiet of his room, he allowed himself a moment of pride. Humans had been underestimated for centuries, but today he had proven they could be more than the galaxy expected. As he drifted to sleep, a message pinged on his hollow screen. It was from Lyra. It contained a single line, "Meet me in the simulation lab tomorrow. I want to see more of what humans can do." Eli stared at the message, a mixture of excitement and apprehension filling him. He knew that whatever lay ahead would test him even more, but he was ready. He had a feeling the galaxy's perception of humans was about to change, starting with him. The next morning, Eli entered the simulation lab. Holographic starfields stretched across the walls, and complex machinery hummed softly. Lyra was already there, her eyes bright with anticipation. She gestured for him to join her at a console. "Today," she said, "we push beyond theory. Let's see if you can handle real interstellar scenarios." Eli nodded, determination setting in. The laughter that had haunted him just a day ago now felt distant. Humans had survived worse than mockery. They had survived entire worlds, entire histories of adversity. And today, he would show that human ingenuity was just as powerful in the far reaches of space. As the simulation began, Eli's hands moved instinctively, guided by intuition and experience. Lyra watched closely, her initial amusement replaced by genuine curiosity. Together, they navigated the simulated star systems, encountering challenges no alien had predicted. Each time, Eli found solutions that relied on creative thinking, human adaptability, and an ability to see connections others missed. By the end of the session, the simulation results were clear. Eli's approach had succeeded where alien methods had failed. Lyra's usual composure broke into a small, genuine smile. "I admit it," she said softly, almost to herself. "Humans are remarkable." Eli felt a surge of pride, but also a quiet humility. This was only the beginning. If the galaxy was ready to laugh at humans, it was about to learn a lesson it would never forget. The day after Eli's surprising success in the simulation lab, the academy buzzed with whispers. Alien students who had once laughed at him now exchanged nervous glances, unsure how to act around a human who had outsmarted centuries of alien knowledge. Eli floated down the hallways, feeling the weight of their curiosity and skepticism, but he ignored it. He had learned that humans thrived not on approval but on persistence. Lyra met him outside the quantum mechanics wing, her silver skin glinting in the morning light. She had a small smirk on her face, but her eyes were sharp, observant. "You know," she said, tilting her head, "I didn't expect you to last more than a week here, let alone excel. Humans surprise me." Eli smiled faintly. "You might be surprised again," he said. "You will be," she replied, then fell silent as they floated toward the lab. Inside the lab, Professor Zalaris awaited them. The giant crystalline instructor's form shimmered with a spectrum of colors, reflecting the excitement in the room. "Today, we begin preparation for the Stellar Challenge," she announced. "This is a galaxy-wide competition. Students from multiple academies will test their skills in science, strategy, and problem-solving. The stakes are high. Success will earn recognition for your species. Failure will teach harsh lessons." The room filled with tension. For humans, this was more than an academic test. It was a chance to change how the galaxy saw them. Eli's heart pounded. This was the moment he had been waiting for. Lyra gestured for him to float beside her. "You know," she said quietly, "I'll be partnered with you for this." "Don't embarrass me," Eli chuckled. "I'll try not to." Their first task was introduced, a simulated crisis in the Vantari system, a distant sector with 3 unstable stars. The challenge was to prevent a chain reaction that could destroy inhabited planets if the stars collided. Aliens had studied these simulations for decades, but no human had ever attempted them. Eli's mind raced. The data was vast and complex, but his intuition for patterns humans often used in problem-solving began to activate. The simulation began. Holographic stars and planets spun around them, dangerously close to collision. Lyra immediately began inputting calculations, her alien logic precise and methodical. Eli observed, taking in the patterns, the subtle relationships between gravitational pulls, energy emissions, and orbital decay. "You're not going to follow my method, are you?" Lyra asked, her tone a mixture of surprise and skepticism. "I don't think it will work the same way," Eli said calmly. He placed his hands over the holographic controls, connecting variables in ways that defied the standard alien protocols. Lyra's eyes widened. "That's unconventional," she whispered. Minutes passed, and Eli's solution began to take shape. The stars' paths stabilized, forming a pattern that even the simulation had not predicted. Lyra adjusted her inputs, tentatively following his approach. The simulation flickered, then confirmed their solution was stable. A ripple of astonishment passed through the other students observing the lab. "Impossible," one murmured. "The human—" They didn't finish the sentence, but the meaning was clear. Lyra floated back, her expression unreadable for a moment. Then quietly she said, "You're starting to scare me." Eli grinned. For the first time, he felt not only respected but needed. After the simulation, Professor Zalaris spoke. "Humans are underestimated, yes. But today, Eli has proven that intuition and unconventional thinking have value. The Stellar Challenge will test more than intellect. It will test creativity, adaptability, and courage. Eli, you are an asset to the Academy." Eli's chest swelled with pride. For centuries, humans had been considered weak, incapable of handling galactic problems. Today, he had proven otherwise. The following week was filled with preparation. Eli and Lyra spent hours together, running simulations, strategizing for every possible scenario. Lyra, who had once laughed at him, began to respect his human perspective. She noticed that Eli often saw solutions others overlooked. Where aliens relied on rigid formulas, humans could improvise and adapt. But not everyone was pleased. Some students whispered behind their hands, casting glances full of envy and suspicion. "A human winning," one said quietly. "It's absurd. The galaxy will not allow it." Eli heard these murmurs but refused to let them shake him. One evening, as the two prepared for another simulation, Lyra spoke quietly. "You know," she said, "I didn't just laugh at you because humans are considered inferior. I laughed because I couldn't understand how someone so small and ordinary could challenge everything we know." Eli paused, and now, her eyes softened. "Now I see that humans are capable of things I never imagined. You think differently. You see possibilities that we overlook. It's fascinating." Eli nodded. "That's all humans need, a chance to show what they can do." The day of the Stellar Challenge arrived. Students from across the galaxy floated into the massive arena, a dome suspended above a spinning starfield. Eli's nerves hummed through him like electricity. Lyra stayed close, her presence steadying him. The first round began with a complex puzzle, redirecting a rogue comet away from a colony planet. Alien students used intricate calculations and precise instruments. Eli studied the comet's path, noticing small irregularities in its trajectory that aliens overlooked. He suggested a subtle adjustment using a combination of human intuition and alien technology. The comet shifted perfectly, narrowly missing the planet. The alien observers murmured in awe. Lyra's eyes shone with admiration. "You're unbelievable," she said softly. Eli floated next to her, focusing on the next challenge. Each task grew harder, testing physics, strategy, and diplomacy. Eli's human creativity allowed him to approach problems from unexpected angles. Where aliens calculated, humans improvised. Where aliens saw limits, humans saw possibilities. By the third round, a galaxy-wide communication alert sounded. A mysterious signal had been detected from an uncharted sector. The simulation shifted to include this anomaly, a cosmic disturbance threatening multiple star systems. Eli's instincts flared. He recognized patterns reminiscent of ancient human space logs describing how humanity had survived near-catastrophic events on Earth's distant colonies. Lyra glanced at him, curiosity and tension in her eyes. "You think you can solve this?" Eli nodded. "We have to try. It's not just a simulation anymore. The pattern, it's real." Together, they navigated the anomaly, combining human intuition with alien precision. Other students watched in stunned silence as Eli calculated solutions that no alien could predict. He guided Lyra's actions, adjusted energy flows, and stabilized the simulated systems. The anomaly calmed, star systems stabilized, and the galaxy's observers erupted in awe. Lyra floated closer, a smile of genuine admiration on her face. "I misjudged you, Eli. Humans, you're more capable than I imagined." Eli felt a warmth in his chest. It wasn't just respect, it was validation for centuries of human struggle. Humans had been underestimated, laughed at, and dismissed across the galaxy. But today, one human had proven that intelligence, courage, and intuition were not limited to alien species. After the challenge, Professor Xylaris addressed the competitors. "Today, you have all seen the unexpected. Eli, a human, has demonstrated that innovation, creativity, and intuition can surpass even the most advanced alien techniques. Let this be a lesson: never underestimate any species." The alien students who had whispered and mocked Eli now approached him with curiosity and tentative respect. Some nodded, others extended hands in acknowledgement. Eli accepted, feeling the weight of change in the galaxy's perception of humans. Later, in a quiet moment, Lyra spoke. "You know, humans are going to change everything. One day, no one will look down on your kind again." Eli smiled, his gaze on the swirling stars visible through the Academy's dome. "I hope so," he said. "But even if they don't, we'll keep showing them what humans can do." That night, Eli lay in his dorm, reflecting on the events. The laughter that had greeted him on his first day seemed a distant memory. What had once been mockery had become recognition. Humans had a place in this galaxy not as observers, not as inferiors, but as equals. And Eli, small and human, had started the change. As sleep took him, a message appeared on his hollow screen. It was from Lyra. "Prepare for the next level. The galaxy is watching, and so am I." Eli stared at the message, a mixture of excitement and determination filling him. Whatever challenges lay ahead, he knew humans were ready to face them. The stellar challenge had only begun, and the galaxy was about to learn that even those once laughed at could become heroes. The galaxy held its breath. The stellar challenge had already proven that a human, small and underestimated, could achieve what aliens deemed impossible. Yet no one, not even Eli, had anticipated the true test that awaited. As the next simulation began, the screen pulsed with a deep, irregular glow. Lyra's silver eyes narrowed as she read the data streaming in. "This isn't just a simulation," she said softly. "The anomaly, it's real." Eli floated closer, his heart hammering. Years of human history, from surviving hostile planets to navigating unknown territories, had prepared him for unpredictability, but nothing in the Academy could prepare him for this. Holographic star systems shifted violently, their trajectories wobbling like unstable orbits in real time. The signal from the uncharted sector was growing stronger, disrupting communications and energy flows across nearby colonies. Professor Xylaris's voice echoed through the chamber. "Competitors, this is no longer a controlled exercise. Treat it as a real crisis. Immediate response is required. Failure will not only cost points, it could affect actual systems." A murmur ran through the room. Alien students whispered, panic creeping into their usually composed expressions. Eli's stomach churned. The gravity of the situation hit him. If they failed, planets could be destroyed. Lives could be lost. He felt the old sting of fear, the same fear humans had faced when confronting disasters beyond their control. But fear also sharpened his focus. Lyra floated beside him, her hands hovering over the controls. "Eli," she said, voice low, "we'll need your instincts more than your calculations. Are you ready?" He nodded. "Let's do this." The simulation, or reality, unfolded rapidly. A rogue neutron star, unstable and powerful, was hurtling toward a cluster of inhabited planets. Alien students attempted to calculate escape vectors, energy shields, and gravitational corrections. Each formula seemed precise, each algorithm perfect, but the patterns shifted faster than their rigid logic could adapt. Eli studied the holographic projections, his human mind noticing subtle irregularities. The star's energy emissions fluctuated unpredictably, creating microanomalies that no alien calculation accounted for. He tapped a sequence into the console, drawing on instinct, intuition, and experience humans had developed over millennia of survival. Lyra's eyes widened. "You're not following the protocol." "I don't need to," Eli said calmly. "The protocol won't work. Watch this." He adjusted the star's trajectory subtly, using a combination of gravitational pulses and energy redirection. Lyra followed his lead, her fingers dancing over the console. Slowly, the star's path stabilized, threading between planets in a delicate balance. "Impossible," one of the alien competitors whispered. "A human is guiding the solution." The tension in the room was palpable. Alien observers held their breath as Eli's intuition continued to outperform centuries of alien logic. Each adjustment was precise yet adaptive, responding to changes that no formula could predict. Minutes passed. Systems that had teetered on the edge of collapse now stabilized. The neutron star moved safely away from inhabited planets. Energy flows balanced, communications restored. Lyra floated back, eyes shining with awe. "You saved them," she said softly. Eli shook his head. "We saved them together." The room erupted into applause, but it was cautious, unsure how to reconcile centuries of alien prejudice with the undeniable success of a human boy. Professor Zalaris's form shimmered brightly as she spoke. "Today, you have witnessed human ingenuity firsthand. Eli has demonstrated that intuition, adaptability, and courage can surpass even the most advanced calculations. Let this be a lesson. No species is inherently weak. Every mind, regardless of origin, has potential." Despite the praise, not all reactions were positive. A group of alien students approached Eli, their expressions a mix of envy and disbelief. "You got lucky," one said sharply. "Humans are small, fragile. This doesn't change anything." Lyra stepped forward, silver hair flowing around her face. "You don't understand," she said firmly. "Eli didn't get lucky. He predicted patterns you couldn't see, adapted when your formulas failed, and saved lives. That is skill. That is human capability." Eli remained calm. "I didn't do it alone," he said. "Lyra helped. We all helped. But humans have something different, something you might not appreciate yet. We survive not because we follow rules perfectly, but because we adapt." The alien students looked at him, some with grudging respect, others with silent resentment. Eli realized that winning a challenge was one thing, changing centuries of perception was another. Later that day, the stellar challenge advanced to its final round, a multi-layered crisis spanning several star systems simultaneously. The challenges were designed to test intelligence, strategy, and teamwork at the limits of interstellar capability. Eli and Lyra were assigned as a team, their partnership now officially recognized after Eli's previous success. Yet the tasks were far beyond what they had faced before. A rogue black hole was drifting toward a cluster of planets, sending tidal waves of gravitational disruption. Alien students scrambled to stabilize systems, but calculations failed under the black hole's unpredictable movements. Eli observed, drawing on intuition again. Humans had faced chaotic environments for centuries, surviving unpredictable weather, earthquakes, and cosmic storms. He saw the solution not in formulas, but in patterns, subtle cues in the way energy shifted around the black hole. "Trust me," he said to Lyra. Lyra hesitated, then nodded. "I do." Together, they deployed a combination of energy shields, gravitational pulses, and orbital adjustments. Each move was precise, yet adaptive, responding instantly to the black hole's chaotic shifts. Slowly, planets stabilized. The simulation, or reality, settled into equilibrium. Alien competitors stared in disbelief. "How?" one whispered. Lyra floated beside Eli, her eyes wide with admiration. "You're extraordinary," she said. Eli smiled faintly. "I'm human." The challenge ended, and the results were broadcast across the galaxy. Eli and Lyra's team had not only completed the task, but had exceeded all expectations. Observers from multiple academies sent messages of astonishment, praise, and curiosity. In the aftermath, Eli walked through the academy's corridors, feeling the weight of what had happened. Aliens who had once mocked him now regarded him with respect. Some approached him to ask questions, to learn, to understand. Others still looked on with envy or doubt, but Eli no longer felt fear. He had faced a cosmic threat, guided by intuition, and emerged victorious. Lyra joined him, her expression serious. "Eli," she said, "do you realize what this means? Humans, your species is no longer underestimated. You've changed perceptions across multiple star systems." Eli nodded, feeling the weight of responsibility. "It's not about us being better," he said. "It's about showing the galaxy that every species has value. Humans have survived impossible odds for centuries. This is just the beginning." The evening brought quiet reflection. Eli sat in the observation dome, watching stars drift by, feeling the vastness of the galaxy and the smallness of a single human. Yet within that smallness was strength, adaptability, and courage. Humans had always survived because they could think differently, act instinctively, and persevere when all else failed. Lyra floated beside him, silent at first. Then she spoke, her voice soft and reflective. "I laughed at you when we first met," she admitted. "I thought humans were fragile, incapable of keeping up with the galaxy. I was wrong. You've proven that humans can be leaders, innovators, even heroes." Eli smiled faintly. "It took me a while to prove it, but I think the galaxy is finally ready to listen." Lyra studied him for a moment, her expression a mixture of admiration and contemplation. "The stellar challenge is over, but the real tests are just beginning. Other sectors, other systems, they will not all be as forgiving. You'll face situations even more dangerous where intuition and courage will be the only tools you have." Eli nodded. "Then we'll adapt. Humans always do." As the night deepened, a new signal appeared on Eli's hollow screen, a distress call from a sector even further than the uncharted one that had begun this crisis. The message was fragmented but clear. Multiple colonies were in imminent danger from a collapsing star cluster. Lyra's eyes widened. "It's happening again," she said. Eli's jaw tightened. "Then we move," he said. "We can't wait for someone else to save them. Humans don't wait." The Academy mobilized its resources. Ships, simulations, and communications stretched across multiple sectors. Alien students who had once mocked Eli now watched him with renewed interest, eager to see how a human could face a real cosmic disaster. Eli's instincts guided every decision, his intuition blending seamlessly with alien technology. Hours passed. Systems stabilized. Colonies were saved. Lives were preserved. The galaxy had witnessed human adaptability, courage, and brilliance in action. By the time the crisis ended, Eli was exhausted, but the exhilaration in his chest was undeniable. He had faced chaos, unpredictability, and danger, and emerged not only successful but respected. The laughter that had once greeted him on his first day seemed like a distant memory, replaced by admiration, awe, and the knowledge that humans had earned their place among the stars. Lyra floated beside him as they looked out over the starfield. "I think the galaxy is finally learning the truth," she said softly. Eli smiled faintly, his gaze firm on the distant stars. "Yes," he said. "And this is just the beginning." The galaxy had learned to watch humans with a mixture of surprise and cautious respect, but no one had yet witnessed their full potential. Eli floated through the observation deck of the Academy, Lyra beside him, as reports poured in from sectors across the galaxy. Collapsing stars, rogue comets, energy surges, they all threatened civilizations far beyond Orion Prime. Alien authorities debated protocols, simulations, and fail-safes, but instinctively, Eli knew the solution would require more than rigid calculations. It would require human courage, intuition, and adaptability. Lyra turned to him, her silver eyes glowing with a mixture of pride and anxiety. "This is bigger than anything we've faced before. Are you ready for it?" Eli took a deep breath. "I don't have a choice," he said. "The galaxy needs us. Let's move." Their ship, a sleek vessel designed for speed and precision, cut through the void, following the distress signals. Aliens on the bridge watched in awe as Eli directed them toward collapsing star clusters, unstable neutron stars, and energy storms that defied conventional physics. His human intuition guided decisions that no alien protocol could anticipate. The first challenge came as they approached a star cluster on the verge of collapse. Gravitational waves rippled outward, threatening nearby planets. Alien technicians immediately began calculations, but the numbers didn't add up. Any miscalculation could destroy entire colonies. "Lyra," Eli said calmly, "we need to stabilize the system differently. We can't rely on formulas alone." Lyra's brow furrowed. "What do you suggest?" Eli pointed to the patterns of energy emissions and the irregular movements of the stars. "We'll redirect the energy using a combination of gravitational pulses and phased energy shields, but we need to adjust constantly. The cluster is unstable in ways your calculations can't predict. Watch for the changes and follow my lead." Lyra's hands moved quickly, adjusting shields and pulses as Eli guided them. The stars shifted dangerously, but slowly, imperceptibly, they began to stabilize. Alien crew members gasped, some leaning forward to observe, others whispering disbelief. "It's working," Lyra said, her voice tense but excited. Minutes stretched like hours as the human-led team continued. Eli's eyes flicked between instruments, the glowing stars, and the signals from distant colonies. He noticed subtle irregularities that even the aliens monitoring the systems had missed. "Adjust the pulses slightly. Yes, that's it." His instincts guided every move, blending human intuition with alien technology. Finally, the star cluster stabilized. The planets were safe. Relief swept through the crew, but Eli knew the real test was only beginning. The next signal came from a sector riddled with rogue black holes, each one twisting spacetime unpredictably. Alien protocols failed to calculate safe paths through the region. Ships had already been lost in simulations, and colonists faced imminent danger. Eli studied the data, his mind moving faster than any machine. "We need to think differently," he said. "We can't navigate by calculations alone. We need to anticipate, adapt, and improvise." Lyra glanced at him, concern in her expression. "You're suggesting we trust instinct?" Eli nodded. "Exactly, human instinct." The crew hesitated, but Lyra placed her hands on the controls. "Then we follow your lead." Eli guided the ship through the black hole region, adjusting shields, rerouting energy, and predicting gravitational distortions in real time. Every moment demanded focus, precision, and courage. Alien observers could hardly believe what they were witnessing. A human was not only surviving in this deadly environment, but actively saving lives and ships that their algorithms deemed doomed. Finally, the last black hole was neutralized, its path stabilized by the delicate balance Eli had orchestrated. The crew erupted in applause, but Eli's focus was already on the next crisis, a rogue neutron star threatening a densely populated sector. Its trajectory was unpredictable, and its energy emissions fluctuated faster than any human or alien calculation could follow. "This one is going to be tough," Lyra said, her voice low. Eli floated closer to the controls, studying the star's irregular patterns. "It's not impossible," he said. "We just need to see it differently. We need to understand it, feel it, anticipate it." Hours passed as Eli and Lyra worked tirelessly. Alien students and crew members followed his lead, adjusting energy pulses, shields, and orbital paths as Eli directed. His human intuition allowed him to predict shifts before they occurred, guiding the star away from inhabited planets with precision and care. As the neutron star's path stabilized, the galaxy's observers began to react. Messages flooded in from multiple sectors, praising the human boy who had saved entire civilizations. News channels reported across star systems. "A human has proven that courage, intuition, and adaptability are as powerful as alien technology and centuries of calculated strategy." Lyra floated beside Eli, her expression a mixture of admiration and exhaustion. "You did it," she said softly. "You saved them all." Eli shook his head. "We did it together." Even the students who had once mocked him approached, offering nods of respect and quiet words of acknowledgement. Aliens from multiple species reached out, seeking advice, insight, and guidance. Humans had earned a place among the stars, not through strength or alien intellect, but through the unique qualities that had allowed them to survive, adapt, and thrive for centuries. Eli looked at Lyra, a small smile on his face. "I think the galaxy is finally ready to see humans differently," Lyra nodded. "Yes, but this is only the beginning. There will always be challenges, ones that no calculations can solve. But now you've shown that humans are capable, even extraordinary." The final crisis resolved, Eli allowed himself a moment of reflection. He thought about the laughter that had greeted him on his first day, the doubts and prejudice that had followed him, and the victories that had proven his worth. Humans were often dismissed, underestimated, and overlooked, but they had qualities no other species possessed: creativity, courage, adaptability, and intuition. "Lyra," Eli said, floating beside her as they gazed at the starfield, "do you think the galaxy will ever stop underestimating humans?" She smiled faintly. "Maybe not entirely, but they will learn to respect us. And one day they might even understand that humans are essential to the galaxy, not just observers but leaders, innovators, and protectors." Eli nodded, feeling a surge of pride. "Then we keep showing them. We keep doing what humans do best: surviving, adapting, and protecting." The Academy recognized Eli with honors that spanned multiple sectors. Awards, commendations, and messages of gratitude arrived from civilizations that had been saved by his intuition and courage. For the first time, humans were no longer laughed at, they were celebrated, respected, and valued. Even Lyra, who had once laughed at him, now looked at Eli with genuine admiration. "I can't believe I ever doubted you," she admitted. "You've changed everything." Eli smiled. "It wasn't just me. Humans have always had this potential. They just needed a chance to show it." The story of the human boy who had laughed in the face of danger, solved the impossible, and saved the galaxy spread across star systems. Children from human colonies looked up at the stars with pride, imagining themselves as capable and important. Alien students reconsidered their assumptions, realizing that no species should be underestimated. Eli and Lyra continued their work together, now partners in more than just the Academy's challenges. They explored uncharted sectors, studied cosmic anomalies, and trained the next generation of interstellar problem solvers. Humans were no longer behind. They were leaders, innovators, and heroes in a galaxy that had once doubted them. One evening, Eli stood on the observation deck, watching a distant supernova explode in brilliant colors. Lyra joined him, silent at first. Then she said softly, "You know, humans might just be the galaxy's greatest surprise." Eli chuckled. "Maybe, but we're not done yet. There's still so much to explore, so much to protect. And we'll do it, humans, aliens, together." As he looked at the swirling galaxies, Eli felt a quiet certainty. Humans had survived countless hardships on their home planet, in distant colonies, and now among the stars. They had learned, adapted, and thrived. And the galaxy had finally begun to see the truth: that humans, small and underestimated, could change worlds, save civilizations, and even shape the future of the cosmos. Lyra looked at him, silver hair glowing softly in the light of the distant stars. "The galaxy has learned the truth," she said. "Humans are capable of greatness beyond imagination." Eli smiled, feeling the weight of centuries of human struggle and triumph behind him. "And we're just getting started," he said. Above them, stars shimmered like a million eyes watching, acknowledging, and celebrating a species that had once been dismissed. The galaxy had witnessed the power of human courage, intuition, and adaptability, and it would never forget it. The story of Eli, the human boy laughed at in class, became legend. The galaxy learned the truth. Humans were more than capable, more than clever, more than any alien could have predicted. They were heroes. And as Eli floated among the stars, Lyra at his side, he knew that this was only the beginning of humanity's journey. The galaxy was vast, filled with mysteries, challenges, and dangers. But humans, he realized, were ready for all of it. Because where others saw weakness, humans saw opportunity. Where others saw limits, humans saw possibilities. And where others laughed, humans proved that courage, intelligence, and heart could change everything.